That's cool.
That's the new graphic to start?
That's it?
Oh, wow. I'm shaking.
It might be 1 second too long from that sound, but it's pretty damn perfect.
I don't know, man. I'm kind of a fan.
Should we do it again?
Can you do it again? Do it again.
Let's
do it
do it
again. Drums, the sword.
I was like an hour of like drum research of looking for the perfect sound.
Dude, your attention to detail with creative things, it comes through so well. Oh, you're doing great, Billy.
That's wine helps. I definitely like the wine, the creative juices.
Yeah, I'm doing some production this weekend. I'm gonna be showing off the data analysis tool. So we just to keep it fresh for the people, right? We're gonna mix it up. We have different types of reads, different types of ads that we run for player profilers. So it's not the same thing over and over again.
Great. Well, we're talking value drafting tonight. We're going to talk in some free agent bargains and late night sleepers.
Yeah, I think
late round sleepers. You're late night sleeping is what it is. That's what I was.
Well, it's late night, late round sleepers and values. This is what I wanted to talk about because I was like, listen, can we just focus on some sleepers and focus on some late round guys that everyone should be soaking up, right? I mean, I had a show where I was talking about Kenneth Gainwell. I did a show talking about, hey, you need to make sure that you're overexposed to these rookies. I think the last time we did the Dominator, I was like, you got to overexpose yourself to these rookies in the double-digit rounds with asymmetrical upside. You know, Theo's been talking about guys like Kendre Miller, Roshan Johnson. There's a whole bunch of these guys. It was Israel Abanikanda before the 40 time. He's still very easy to attain, even after he melted faces. He's climbing, but you know, it's a rope that's just slipping through our fingers now, this Israel Abanikanda. But these are the types of guys to get. But then there's also players that have some of the similar principles that we love about the rookies, that we're not sure where they're going to play next year. And they could end up in a best case scenario. They could end up being the lead back for the Chargers. They could end up being the lead back for the Falcons and a bunch of other places that would be exciting and take advantage. And there's some quality rookies that are values, as we talked about, but there's also some quality veterans, especially those that have either been mothballed by their current teams or don't have teams. That's, I think, the majority of the best values are those types of players. And it's this every year. It's just, it's hard to stomach drafting a player with just an empty next to his team, right? Or an FA. It's very difficult. I get it, but you just have to do it.
Yeah, there's a lot of these players. I mean, and then I understand they're not sexy names. They're not sexy picks at this point in their career with a few of these, but nonetheless, some of them are a year removed or even coming off a season where they were still very productive. And we're in drafts, we're passing on them, you know, or maybe they're an afterthought. We're going over the new shiny balls, right? All the rookies coming in, and I understand the upside's there, but when it comes down,
balls?
Yeah, you know, like
what?
Shiny ball syndrome, like, ooh, I want that.
Shiny balls?
Yeah, you never heard of that?
Shiny toys.
No, the shiny ball syndrome. It's a mixture of like the dog, you know, like I guess it's a hyper. What's the word where you mixing two different?
You're mixing metaphors.
Yes, there's a word for this. I forget
the name. It's metaphor.
It is, but I love doing it. I always do it.
Well, I like it when you do it because it's silly and fun. You just think about shiny balls. You know, get them cleaned up and shiny.
So we got now I lost my train of thought. We got veterans here. There's still a lot of opportunity for production. And like you said, they're not on teams yet, but when they land, we expect them to climb an ADP, right? First name I want to talk about is Kareem Hunt. Right now, FFPC ADP is going at 122, rounds 10 and 11 right now. He lands somewhere, like, let's just say, okay, Joe Mixon, now all the new legal issues that resurfaced today. Let's just say Joe Mixon's out of the equation. Very well possible. They're going to save $10 million if they cut him. What if Kareem Hunt lands in Cincinnati? Where does his ADP go?
Well, Kareem Hunt's only 27.
Yeah.
And Kareem Hunt hasn't had 200 plus carries since 2017. 2017 since he commanded 200 plus carries, and he had 1,300 plus yards that year with another 455 receiving yards. He was the RB5 in fantasy football. The year after that, he was the RB8 with even more fantasy points per game than the year prior because he had 14 touchdowns in only 11 games. This is a quality running back. The Chiefs have not had anyone like him since he left. He's been behind Nick Chubb, and it's understandable that you would be the 1B behind Nick Chubb, but he very much was the 1B. He was not just, a breather back. He played a lot. He played significant red zone touches.
Yeah.
Where he was on the field with Nick Chubb on the sideline. He's an interesting guy. I understand why teams are avoiding a player like this because he's also had intersections with law enforcement at various times. There was talk about, his behavior getting him banished from the league. And now he's had, a clean track record off the field for at least a couple of years. But if you're a team and you're like, well, I could sign Fournette or I could sign Kareem Hunt. Fournette, at least, maybe Fournette is a bit truculent, but at least he has an intersection with law enforcement. We're just going to go that direction. So I understand why Kareem Hunt is still a free agent, but once these other guys sign, once these dominoes start falling, eventually he's going to fall. And I think he and Fournette are the guys that actually have RB1 seasons on their resume, and they still have receiving upside. And so I'm very excited. I mean, FFPC just in the last 2 weeks, Kareem Hunt is down more than a full round just because every week that goes by, he doesn't sign. There's a little bit of hope. Oh, maybe he's Todd Gurley. Maybe he's David Johnson. Maybe he's Le'Veon Bell. Maybe he's just 27 and out of the league and irrelevant. I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
We didn't see anything from his play that suggests that he's dust in any way, shape, or form, or that somehow he's regressed. No, I mean, he ran a route on 45% of Cleveland dropbacks last year. There were times when he was playing with Chubb on the field together. It was number 18 in the league, his route participation rate. And he had 242 routes run as a running back, which was top 17, and he was top 10 in catch rate. So the guy was still great in the passing game. That's all you're looking for. He's going to pay off at that ADP easily. All he needs to do is land somewhere that primarily has a between the tackles grinder, and he can come in and just soak up 40% of the touches and command the targets out of the backfield. That's all he needs to do, and he'll smash.
Man, I think he still has the ability to be a great 3-down back. He's not past that age apex yet, and I understand everyone's argument right now is, his efficiency was falling off a cliff last year. He only averaged 3.7 true yards per carry, running back 60, but he's 1 year removed from being inside the top 10 at that position. Like, part of me thinks, and this is where I kind of go back to the human element versus just the analytics, right? There was a lot going on in Cleveland last year. We requested a trade. He wanted out of there. He wasn't, granted that he wasn't able to find a trade partner. Wasn't out of Cleveland. So he finished the season. But how much would your heart be in it knowing that, hey, I'm on my last year of my contract on a team I don't want to play for, on a contract year where I could get hurt and maybe not get a contract next year? Would you play your entire heart out for that organization?
Yes. So Billy, I hate to break this to you. We wish we had a breaking news sound effect, but all these guys are always playing their heart out at all times, because if they don't, they will get injured. So that is a fallacy that a guy's out there thinking about his contract. That's not real life. That's not how sports works. How sports works is you're part of an 11-man unit. And if your 11-man unit in the downs and distances where you're getting a carry is not opening running lanes, you're not going to put up a high yards per carry. But we have metrics that show a running back's independent efficiency, right? His ability to avoid tackles irrespective of the run blocking. And he was top 20 in evaded tackles per touch, juke rate, which tells me he still has the juice. It's just that he was stuffed over and over and over again. 27 stuffed runs, 22% stuffed run rate. That was right up there with Rashad Penny. It's the same argument I had about Rashad Penny, where on the Sonic Truth show and on the Mind of Mansion show, I keep bringing up Rachaad White. And I'm like, Rachaad White is an all-purpose back.
Yes.
Who was inefficient in a small sample with bad run blocking last year. And it was because the team lost a lot of its linemen, right? The narrative all year around Tampa was this offensive line's been decimated. It's killing Brady. It's killing the running game. The only one that's helped by this is essentially Fournette out of the backfield. And it's the same thing. The run blocking rating for the Browns when Hunt was running the ball was outside the top 50. It was just 48.8. It's not good. Let him get in a situation where he's at least getting league average run blocking. He's not getting stuffed at a ridiculous rate. And then a lot of those juke outs are going to end up going for big plays. It just didn't happen last year. Okay, right? Only had 123 carries. There's only so many chances you're going to have on 123 carries to break long runs, especially if the run blocking is subpar. I can't believe this. Like, I've never been Mr. Kareem Hunt. Like, this has not been my thing. He's not been and I've been validated time and time again, right? Yes, he's a guy that you can play in DFS. I love playing him in DFS in tournaments because, just on the chance that for whatever reason, game script or an injury to Chubb, you get 30 plus points at value from a guy like Kareem Hunt. So I've liked him in DFS in tournaments in recent years. That's been the only time I've really been excited to roster this guy. Now for the first time, I'm looking up and, this guy. Oh, okay. He's going to pick 122.2, tight end premium FFPC, single quarterback league, round 12, round 13, now round 14, you're seeing it. This is the exact type of running back. When you do hero RB, okay, you build around a particular running back that you like. And some of these zero RB drafts are really hero RB drafts because some of these guys you can get in round 4 and 5 are actually heroes.
That's true.
That's the beauty of this year. You get some hero backs in round 4, round 5, and then Kareem Hunt can be like your third running back, and you can load up on running backs in that zone. I'm loading up on guys that don't have teams, whether they be rookies or people in this Kareem Hunt archetype. He's not dust. He's definitely not dust. He's been lightly used for the last 5 years. There's nothing not to like except that you don't know where he's going to end up playing.
Next running back on the list is Leonard Fournette. Similar scenario here, not on a team. FFPC ADP is even later.
What?
146.4. So we're averaging rounds 12 to 13 based on ADP, but he is starting to sink as well. Fournette is coming off a year where he had 73 receptions. I understand that was with Tom Brady. He had 6 total touchdowns last year. He had a combined 1,100 yards plus, right? He was RB12 last year in fantasy points per game. So we know that he can still be productive here. The issue is Leonard Fournette and his weight, right? It's always been the concern with him. However, a lot of places where he could still potentially land, and teams may wait till the draft, see what they get inside the draft with rookies and what may or may not happen. And then from there, expect names like Leonard Fournette, Kareem Hunt to sign somewhere. And if he signs, where does his ADP shoot up? I mean, he's going around 12 and 13. Is he now round 8, 9, 10? How far does he shoot up if he lands on a team? When he lands on a team?
Fantasy football is so easy, right? You get one premium running back, you're surrounded with a ton of premium receivers, and then you just pick off all these guys. Pick. Running backs with upside. Abanikanda, Miller, Fournette, Hunt, boom, 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 boom. That's how you do it. And then you're done. And you print money. What am I missing here? I would think that Fournette would actually have an earlier ADP than Hunt.
Yeah, it's later. I mean, and right now, he was running back number 3 last year in receiving yards, 523. Number 3 in receptions was 73. Total yards as a running back last year, RB 22. Fantasy points per opportunity, running back 23. Fantasy points per game, like I said, RB 12 earlier. They're still tanking this gas, right? And he's gonna be able to perform when he lands on a team. Maybe he's a goal line back, mixes in on third downs. He's not going to be a workhorse back, and maybe doesn't get the opportunity that he saw in Tampa, but he's still going to be productive. He's still going to be a flex play for season long. Best ball is even better. He's going to have his spike weeks. You're getting him this late in drafts. Oh man, I've been drafting him, and I'm not even a huge Fournette fan.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I am a Fournette fan. So I'm more of a Fournette fan than I am a Kareem Hunt fan.
Ooh, interesting.
But Leonard Fournette's awesome. He just happened to be on a team with an injury-ravaged offensive line, that same team that Rachaad White was on, and we was on a team with Rachaad White, where they're like, oh, we have essentially a younger, more dynamic version of Leonard Fournette and Rachaad White, so we're going to have to make sure these guys, share the football, right? So another player who has not seen 200 carries in many years. It's been 2019 since Leonard Fournette saw 200 plus carries. That was with Jacksonville. So yeah, he is absolutely he's the biggest satellite back.
This is satellite back
ever, right? But you can see him he is
6 foot 230 pound satellite back.
Same excuse. He only had 3.5 yards per carry. But again, he had 35 stuffed runs. He had the same run blocking rating we talked about earlier, 52.8. All these guys with these, run blocking ratings around 50, high stuffed run rate, no breakaway runs, but respectable juke rates above 20, showing me, okay, they're not dust. He still was top 25 in yards created per touch. He's not total dust. There's the dust spectrum, right? So you have Hunt, and then you have Fournette, and then you have Elliot. Elliot much dustier, right? He's been through a lot more. Fournette's also been relatively healthy. He played 16 games last year. That was a career high in games played. Did you know that, Billy?
Oh, was it really?
Yeah, career high games played for Leonard Fournette, 16 games. Wow, yards per route run as a receiver, 1.44, number 13 in the NFL. So he was particularly effective in the passing game, number 1 in catch rate, but that's also the catch rate. You got to put some context around that. Tom Brady makes it very easy for running backs out of the backfield.
Yep.
So if it were Daniel Jones throwing to him, it would not have been the same catch rate. Understood.
Baker Mayfield.
Yeah, let's go. Let's go with Fournette. He is explosive. I know that he didn't have enough breakaway runs to show that, okay, he's certainly lost a step. Yes, but he's coming from a place with a 92nd percentile speed score that he can lose a step and still be relatively explosive.
All right, the next back I want to talk about, I want you to tell me value or are you out? Ezekiel Elliot, FFPC ADP right now is 129. However, I got him in a draft the other day in round 17 in an FFPC best ball league. At what point are you comfortable drafting him? I know he's now not signed on a team. He's had, 200 plus carries in every single career game, every single career year, 300 in a few. He's got a lot of tread on the tires that's been, removed, or say no tread on the tires now. His yards per carry has been just declining year after year after year. What point are you comfortable drafting Ezekiel Elliott? Because he's going right now as usually RB 48 to RB 50-ish on average.
If someone tells me he's going a top 50 running back in a fantasy draft, I would say, I don't believe you. I don't believe you. Where you got him, I believe. So I don't know what these drafts that are happening where he's going that early. I don't understand that. I would be out on him at that point. Where you got him is where I would draft him. So this is a situation where he's much dustier. It's like, yes, I get it.
Blowing off the dust.
Passing game upside is not there. you're desperately hoping for a touchdown dependent landing spot to come to fruition. Maybe, right? But I know wherever Hunt or Fournette goes, they're going to soak up targets.
So can Ezekiel Elliott be like, what was the year LeGarrette Blount had all those touchdowns inside New England? Could you see something like that happening with Ezekiel Elliott this year?
No. I mean, you want to chase the LeGarrette Blount 20 touchdowns? Is that what you're doing?
No. I'm playing devil's advocate here.
I know you're a terrible devil's advocate. I mean, that is just evil. Like you can't be pumping people up with hope on Ezekiel Elliott.
I'm not pumping up. I'm just asking, at what point are you comfortable? Because there's a point in every draft where I have been in that
I'm in, man. I'm in on him when he's super cheap. I'm in, like I said, but I'm much more comfortable with Hunt and Fournette.
And I'm looking at the names on the board. And I'm like, man, Zeke's still there. Like, do I just take him because what if? Right? What if he is able to fall in the end zone 8 times this year? What if he lands on a team like Buffalo, or he lands on a team like, Cincinnati, or he lands on a team that he's really going to utilize him in the red zone? There's a lot of what if scenarios with him.
I know.
And I definitely agree he's dusted. Like, he's looked horrible the last couple of years, and Pollard was much more explosive back, but he always falls forward. He's very productive in the red zone. There's a place where I'm in drafts, and every time I get there, it's usually like around 14 or around 15 right now. And I see his name on the board, and I'm like, if he comes back, I'll probably take him. And I don't feel good about it, but I also am like, it's round 14.
How many times over Fournette? Is Fournette gone?
No, I mean, I'll take Fournette over him because I like, but I'm saying Fournette usually goes, and those are like the last kind of dusty tier running backs that are there. And then you get into really like no man's land into, now it's like the tier 2 and 3 rookie running backs, right? That don't have as much upside as the ones that we all really like. And this is where you used to be able to get, a Bandicana, but now he's climbing up draft boards. But at what point are you saying RB50 and higher, you're comfortable taking him? Or are you just saying, no, I'm out?
It's just, I'm always going to like a rookie more. There's always a rookie. There's always a Spears. I'm going to go rookie there. Probably. That's what's going to happen. I'm just not going to end up with him. I'm just telling you right now, I'm not going to end up with him. So, I mean, I get the theory of the case. There's absolutely, I'm with you. Like, I am with you. Right. But I can't do it. Right. I can't do it. So I'm looking at our rankings right now. FFPC rankings. We have Ezekiel Elliott at RB40.
Yeah.
Which is ahead of Kareem Hunt, ahead of Fournette, ahead of Kendre Miller and Charbonnet. I would not take him that high. I would not take him that high. I think you and Dario need to huddle up on that.
Yeah, this is also with ADP baked in, and this is off of the seasonal, right? The seasonal they haven't had as many drafts as the best ball, so that they haven't been as reflective as ADP. But as ADP catches up, he'll definitely come down. I know.
Yeah, his ADP was higher, and now his ADP is checking in at 129.1.
Yep.
And so he is gonna drop. So just for all our subscribers, you can bake in 10 plus spots.
Yeah, probably. He's going
to drop. He's going to be below Alexander Madison. He's going to be below a lot of these guys.
Yeah, I'd say
he's going to be down there in the Dante Foreman zone. That's where he belongs.
Yeah, maybe slightly higher, but that's about right.
Yeah, that's where he belongs.
Next player we have is
I can't believe where we have Clyde Edwards-Helaire. We have Clyde Edwards-Helaire at RB 56.
It's a sneaky one this year, man. They don't have Jerick McKinnon has not resigned.
Oh,
and I know he hasn't resigned. So as of right now, he's the projected third down back. And I know people don't like it and they don't think it's going to happen. But as of today, that's who's projected to be the third down back. It may change after the draft and the free agency kind of resumes. But as of today, April 7th, 2023, I am projecting him to be the third down back until we see otherwise in free agency.
I would say that when you and Dario huddle up on Monday, when you update the FFPC rankings for tight end premium on the site, what people are going to find is essentially a switching of Ezekiel Elliott and Israel Abanikanda. These are going to be the two ships in the night passing.
Oh,
I
yeah.
love where we have Hubbard, by the way. I was so happy to see where we have Hubbard at RB49. That is dead on. That's a sneaky sleeper right there.
Yeah, I think he's going to be involved, especially looking at what Deuce Staley did last year with, both running backs. He's actually one of my most owned running backs right now in best ball, because we know he's going to be sneakily involved in this offense.
Oh, yeah.
I have him a lot higher than most people do in their rankings, but just based upon the amount of, opportunity that's there, the way this pie I anticipate to be broken down, he's definitely been a backup in targeting late in drafts, because you can get him in rounds 17, 18 in some drafts. And at that point, I'm looking up there. I'm like, I could take, my 8th receiver, or I could take, my 6th running back, or maybe my 9th receiver or my 6th running back. And I usually lean towards Chuba in these drafts, just because I do think he's going to be heavily involved.
Yeah, I mean, his yards per route run, catch rate, really impressive right there with Fournette. Really, 82% catch rate, 1.9 yards per route run. Just didn't have the sample, right? Didn't have the sample size that you want. But when you look at target rate, and I mean, it was all impressive. Target rate, which is targets per route run. The guy's impressive. You got yards per touch, number 6 in the NFL. He had a 2,000-yard season at Oklahoma State, and he's shown that he is beyond adequate in the passing game, that he is actually a quality receiver with the requisite size to be an every down back. He is exciting. He's 23 years old. He came out super young. He's a dominant college runner. Like I said, all-purpose back. He wasn't even that heavily used in the passing game in college. He maxed out at 23 receptions. So we had no idea, right, what he was going to be. It's like 23 catches on 2,000 rushing yards. He had 328 carries that year at Oklahoma State. Wasn't necessarily that fast, but did run a 4.5 flat at his pro day. You forget this guy was a highly regarded prospect, running back prospect, and he's still only 23 years old. And there's not that big of a difference between him and Miles Sanders. I believe at this point we would agree that he's a better receiver than Miles Sanders. And Miles Sanders isn't like this savant runner. It's not like, Miles Sanders between the tackles, it doesn't get any better than that. He's, Miles Sanders not some broken tackle machine, right?
He's been behind one of the best offensive lines in football too.
Yeah, Miles Sanders has been a disappointment because of his lack of involvement in the passing game. And as soon as they insert Kenneth Gainwell, boom, you see, oh no, this is a team that'll throw the running back when he's open, right? That's that underlying concern I have about Travis Etienne vis-a-vis JaMychal Hasty. It's like, well, okay, they don't throw the running back unless it's JaMychal Hasty. Well, wait a second, what does that mean, right? Well, they don't throw to the running back unless it's Kenneth Gainwell. Oh, okay. And we're going to say, they don't throw the running back in Carolina unless it's Chuba Hubbard. And it's like, is Miles Sanders really giving you that much more in the running game than Chuba Hubbard would? Probably not, but they signed Miles Sanders to a 4-year deal, which running backs rarely get. So he's going to get first crack. He's going to be the starter. There's going to be drafts right up with Miles Sanders, right? But a lot more Chuba.
I was trying to find Clyde Edwards-Helaire in the running back rankings, and I kept typing in his name. Did you change his name to Bad Running Back, or who?
It's been Bad Running Back for a year. It's Bad Running Back. I can't believe we have him so high.
I was looking everywhere for him.
I mean, again, in fairness to you guys, Elliot was going a lot higher not long ago. And so that, you basically had him at ADP with, just not sure where he's going to end up.
All right. This is a valid conversation I want to have, because these are running backs who have either underperformed, have been on a descent or decline, I should say. However, as of today, Clyde Edwards-Helaire is only one of a few running backs on this team. Do we expect them to add a running back high in the draft, right? So I know we still have Pacheco, right? There's going to be opportunity for more than one back, is what I'm saying. And I'm not this huge Clyde Edwards-Helaire like stan at all, but we look at what he did in the beginning of last year. He was on a bender last year. Like, He was RB6 in fantasy points per game week 1, RB8 in fantasy points per game in week 2, RB14 in fantasy points per game in week 3, RB9.
Are you only going to do fantasy points? You're going to give us any of the underlying metrics where he had 0 rushing yards and 2 touchdowns?
we could talk about the receptions. Where I'm going with this is his involvement in the passing game. He was seeing 3, 4, 5 targets. He was seeing 74, total yards, 118 yards. Yes, there's a couple of them where
I was told that I was being cliche and obvious, and I wasn't adding any value with any of my TikToks or any of my videos because I kept saying Clyde Edwards-Helaire was the sell of my lifetime, and everyone's like, preaching to the choir. Everybody's saying that. Come up with something new, Podfather. Be unique. So I was saying he was the sell of a lifetime, and then every other analyst was drafting off of that and saying the exact same thing. And then it was like poetry. Every year there's a couple takes where you hit them, and it's the barrel of the bat right on the dead center on the baseball, and selling Clyde Edwards-Helaire after whatever it was, week 4.
Oh yeah, that was the best point to sell him.
Was the stone nuts move. You sell them a week ahead, like, okay, well, you sold them too early. I'm like, just wait for the shoe to drop, please, thank you. And then guess what happens? The shoe drops, my friend. The shoe drops.
So great, best time to sell him. But what I'm saying was they actually used him in the passing game, and he was actually finally being productive as a fantasy asset.
You watch those games, right? I mean, I'm not a big
they weren't great, but it's still the Chiefs offense.
He looked like he was getting the bare minimum.
I agree with that. However, it's still the Chiefs offense, and this is still a high-powered offense in the NFL. And this is where we go back from, okay, yes, we want to chase upside. We want to chase the total amount of fantasy points, but there is a point where you're in drafts and you're looking for a usable player.
I heard people debating this with Mark Ingram last year.
And we're talking about
where are we going to draft Mark Ingram?
Look at Josh Jacobs last year. This is another one.
No, it's not about Josh Jacobs. That's not the same thing. We're talking about
everyone said running back. He's old. He's done. We are
talking about a running back where the team was out on him. The team said, "Hey, you're our starter," and then the next minute they said, "Nay, you're gone. You're not coming back. You're banished. We got 3 running backs we'd rather play other than you. We're sick of you. You're done." And you think that he's going to do something this offseason after making all this money as a first-round pick and getting demoralized by the team? You think he's going to bounce back well from this? Has he shown you anything throughout his career that this is a mentally tough person?
He showed me weeks 1 through 4 this year that he can be the passing down back inside Kansas City. He was never the between the tackler. We saw that his rookie year on the goal line where he was on the 1 yard line, got stuffed all 4 times or whatever it was. It was like brick wall, brick wall, brick wall. I'll just say this. And by the way, shout out to Underdog. Underdog came back and sponsored the show this year, and we've been in these Underdog drafts, and we love Underdog. The promo code is Underworld. Okay, Underworld is the promo code on Underdog. You double your deposit up to $100. So you put in 100, you get 100. I was talking to someone today who said, you know what? I've heard a lot about Underdog the last couple of years. I never actually downloaded the app. Do you know how easy it is to download the app? They make it so you go to the app store, you type in Underdog. It's the first app, boom, right there. You hit download. And then to get set up and deposit, there's no app. There's no fantasy gaming app that makes it easier to set up an account and deposit and start playing. And then the beauty of Underdog is because it's so popular, these drafts fill in minutes. You're not waiting for an alert. You're not trying to see if you can join a draft and then maybe it fills, maybe it doesn't, and it's 30 minutes to go and I don't know. We'll see what happens. No, Underdog fills. It's on demand, best ball drafting at its finest. We love Underdog. The promo code is Underworld. And on Underdog, where you're drafting in best ball, you don't have the luxury of the waiver wire. You don't have the luxury. He is radioactive in a format, a draft master format, where you cannot go to the waiver wire and you're going to draft 5 to 6 running backs. You cannot just light running backs on fire in that format. Yes. Okay. In a seasonal league, right? If this is an FFPC main event team,
and it's late and Edwards-Helaire is there and you think he might be the starter for week 1 somehow, okay.
Third down
That's
back.
not going to happen. It's going to be Pacheco or some guy they draft, but okay. Could be Fournette, right? I would love it to be Fournette, by the way. That would be amazing. That would be just a finger in the eye. Finger in the eye to so many analysts. Fournette to the Chiefs. Make it happen. So, finger in the eye. Please.
All right. Last piece
so
of Fournette.
Anyway, my larger point is it's nuanced that I'm not going to say never draft this guy ever. There is a context, a platform, a format where I would draft him and then release him after a week or two. But if I don't have that ability to go to the waiver wire, I ain't doing it. Radio active in best ball.
All right. Enough of the free agents. Let's move on to underpriced assets as we
continue. Am I convincing you?
No. I'm just for time's sakes. I'm gonna move on. I still think you look at the only 3 running backs on the team: Isaiah Pacheco, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Michael P. Ryan. That's it. Yes, they're gonna add a back. I still think that Edwards-Helaire is involved for at least the first half of the season, if not more, in the passing game. He's not the 1-2 down back. We'll leave it there.
Agree to disagree, Billy.
Back that we can agree on, who is undervalued right now, is Antonio Gibson. ADP right now, 115.
Don't care. Bye. Don't care. Bye.
Don't care about Antonio Gibson?
I don't care. I don't care what his ADP is. I want him so bad. The fact that he's 114.9.
Yeah.
If he was 94.9, I'd be interested. This guy's a stud. This guy's comparable to Joe Mixon, and that's a real comparison. That's like a great comparison. He's 24 years old. Mixon really didn't start producing until age 24. By his age 24 season, Gibson already has 2 double-digit touchdown years.
Hold up, time out. I gotta put is it Kevin or Kevan? I gotta put Kevan in his place. He says I can think anything with what I think's gonna happen inside projections and rankings. And I just want to show Kevin something real quick. You see that, Kevin? That's usually when I'm right. That's what that means.
Just not this one time. That's all. It's you might be the Fantasy Pros rankings champ for the industry, which you are. The last couple of years, you've been the best. You're the man. However, when it comes to Clyde Edwards-Helaire, I'm undefeated.
I wish I could bookmark this conversation. I'm going to bookmark. We have it recorded. We're coming back to it.
Please.
I've never been a Clyde Edwards-Helaire fan, but here I am defending him. That's hilarious.
By all means, come back to this. By all means, it's these dusty running backs that are not commanding significant action in the passing game are very difficult for me to get behind.
I have Gibson running back 30 in my rankings.
As you should.
People are saying it's too high already. I don't think it is. I think it could be higher.
He set a career high in receptions last year.
Yep.
He was top 12 in running back targets. I mean, what are we talking about? He was top 10 in yards per route run. He ends up anywhere else, like, the Chargers. The Chiefs. There's a bunch of spots he could land in trade. That he is going to be available. I have a suspicion that Washington wants to draft another running back in day 2. I have a feeling they want one of these guys. They want an A-chain type, and that's going to make Antonio Gibson expendable, and it's going to be great. Wherever he lands, it's going to be on.
Yeah, I've always liked Antonio Gibson. He's always underutilized here. I remember when we were doing the projections, Dario and I, it was like beginning of February, end of January, and I put in the notes because we had all the rosters built out, the depth charts, and put a note right there and said, neck injury, McKissick, probably done, gone, right? And I allocated all that target share to Antonio Gibson. Take note, Kevin. That was a projection there. Same thing as CEH.
Even if he's not traded, he's a value.
Exactly. I love Gibson this year, and I love his ADP even more.
You said it. No McKissick.
No McKissick.
There's no competition for targets in that backfield. Let's go. They're going to be losing. They're going to be throwing. Hells yeah. He's got 353 receiving yards last year. Jesus. You know, he was a top 30 running back in points per game.
I like this offense this year. I'm actually higher on Howell than a lot of people are.
I'm higher on Brissett.
You got new OC. You like Brissett. I mean, I could see Brissett definitely playing this year, and he ran Cleveland's offense actually better than Deshaun Watson did when he returned.
And he didn't have that great of weaponry. He just had Amari Cooper is a very specific type of receiver. Some quarterbacks do not operate well with Amari Cooper, especially in a number one capacity. So I actually felt bad for Brissett given the situation he was in. With this receiving core, this is a dream receiving core.
It's actually a really good receiving core.
Yes,
Jahan Dotson.
It's the dream. It's the dream to have a proper X in McLaurin.
Yep.
Right. You have a proper Z. One of my favorite types of Z receivers in Samuel. And then you've got a prototypical slot guy in Dots, who can actually run double moves out of the slot.
Yeah, he was sneaky good in the red zone last year too.
Yeah, babe. I mean, he scored a lot of touchdowns. I mean, that's why he's a little bit inflated. But
he's a good receiver.
He's a good receiver. That's the thing. It's one of the better wide receiver trios and one of my favorite sort of skill distributions for the receiving. Then when you add Gibson and the fact they don't really have a tight end that is commanding targets, you could just say, whoa, things are setting up real well for Gibson. If he's on the team, if he gets traded, that's a team that wants him. That's even better.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think that there's only going to be the needle's only going to point up with Gibson. It would have to have a really bad draft for him in order, and then not be moved for any, I think, reduction in ADP even further than where it is. I just don't see it happening.
I mean, if they draft like Jahmyr Gibbs and don't trade him, then yeah, the guy's fucked.
They just hate him.
Yeah. But that is like, okay, that's the game we play in the double-digit rounds in fantasy football. Okay, like in round 10, you're drafted Antonio Gibson, doesn't work out. Okay, they drafted Gibbs, didn't trade him. Loser game show sound. Moving on. Otherwise, it's a win.
Agree. Another win, Parris Campbell last year. He played a career high 17 games, 92 targets, 63 receptions, 623 receiving yards.
Didn't have a lot of catches, huh?
Yeah, did have 63 receptions. I always liked Parris Campbell. You know, he came out of Ohio State really quick, 99th percentile speed score coming out of college at 4.31. Injuries plagued his career so far. Prior to 2022, he'd only played in a total of 15 games. So he actually beat out his first 3 years combined last year in total games. If he can stay healthy now, right, I think like the landing spot, the Giants, they didn't really have a lot of receivers here as well, right?
Richie James is now a Chief.
Yep. You have Wandale coming off injury, major injury. You have Shepard, who's always injured, who's coming off, it seems like every year, a career injury.
Well, Shepard is an injury.
Yeah, his injury chart's like a Christmas tree.
Yeah, sterling injury.
I think that Parris Campbell can carve out a role here, a pretty large role inside this Giants offense. I think that he could keep
Well, as Kevin would say, you can think anything, Billy.
That's true, I can.
But I agree with you on this one. You're thinking clearly on this one. You're thinking clearly, baby. This is the right offense for him. It's the day ball offense. Isn't the day ball offense like so sexy and cool in this day ball offense? Oh, Parris Campbell runs a 4.3, super versatile. He could run deep. Yes, his hands are a little shaky deep, understood. They'd rather have him around the line of scrimmage. That's okay. Is that where Wandale Robinson operates? Sure. Will Wandale be ready for the start of the season?
Not going to happen.
Probably not. Right? Did Parris Campbell make any money in free agency? No. Was there nearly the same amount of money to spend in free agency around the league? No. The way the cap was reset, teams didn't have the spending money. Remember, they had to spend the money. So they were giving all this money to Aguilar. Remember all these players we talked about on the decision point, how some of these players were just lucky when they happen to be free agents. Yep. Aguilar, Bourne,
Aguilar,
Zay Jones, and then the money wasn't there. A couple players that are premium players, like a guard, not even a premium player, but a guard like Lindstrom, he's going to get some money. But all these free agents across the board at every position, everyone's like, oh wow, underwhelming contract. It's like there wasn't the money to spend. A lot of this money's been committed, and all these teams are trying to hoard money to afford these quarterbacks, and they're paying Derek Carr all the money. So this is why, and they've got all this dead cap money tied up and all these bad contracts that are being moved around the league. That's why the money just wasn't there to spend on a Chark, to spend on a Campbell. And I feel bad for them because I think in another year they would have made 4 or 5x the money. I'm not too concerned that they didn't command the money in free agency. He commanded the targets last year. He had multiple double-digit target games. He has the athletic, and explosive profile that we're looking for. And there's no target competition. What are we talking about here?
ADP?
You have to think
you want to guess where his ADP is at?
If you're not drafting him at this ADP, you have to think that he's bad.
It's my most owned player across all formats and all sites. He's going FFPC right now 215.
It's wacky.
Yeah, and I understand really there's a lot of injury risk baked in, but still.
215.
215 is like just free.
215.
Free. Love it.
Where's Isaiah Hodgins going?
Hodgins?
Yeah. I'm guessing Hodgins is going way earlier. Even though Isaiah Hodgins is not better. Like,
Hodgins
most people think Hodgins
172.4 right now.
People think Hodgins is a better player, which is silliness.
So you're talking 50 picks?
It's ridiculous.
4 rounds later.
What has Hodgins done? Hodgins has never even had 400 receiving yards in his career.
He had a pretty good stretch last year, though.
He had a good stretch. So did Campbell. And Campbell was actually drafted in the 2nd round ahead of DK Metcalf because he was awesome at Ohio State for a couple of years. He's really versatile. Everyone talks about these are the kinds of receivers that NFL teams covet. And then the Giants get a bargain on him, and he ends up in just the right offense that you would want. And then you're like, meh. It's like, hello?
What do you do again? Can you do that sound for me one more time?
Not that into him. Like, why? Why not draft him? It's too easy. It doesn't have to be hard. What's going on? Yeah, that one really blew my hair back when I saw it on the show sheet. I was like, is that right? Is that true? The next thing you're going to tell me is like Rondale Moore is going, in round 13.
Pretty close. 132 FFPC ADP.
Shut up.
Round 11 to 13. It's another
player.
Shut up. And I guess I just like really short, quick wide receivers this year.
No, but this is I mention him because he is another guy. 2nd round, 4.3, really versatile, shaky hands downfield, but can run the full route tree when called upon. He's the guy scoring touchdowns on jet sweeps. He's in and around the line of scrimmage, making big plays, shedding tacklers.
And we know DeAndre Hopkins is on the move, right? They're saying traded or cut. One of the two. He's
going to command a bunch of targets, especially from a replacement level quarterback that's going to have to keep the ball close to the line of scrimmage. You're going to have a stretch of month. I guarantee there's going to be a month where Rondale Moore out targets Marquise Brown.
Oh, absolutely.
There's going to be at least 1 month where that is true, just like there's going to be a month where Campbell out targets Hodgins, if not for the full season.
There was 3 games last year where Rondale Moore had 10 plus targets inside those games.
Yeah.
He's going to be a target monster this year, especially once Hopkins is officially gone. People are always reactive. Like they don't try to look and be a visionary and look to the future of what's going to happen. But we expect Hopkins gone. I've expected him gone since the beginning of the year. 22.5% target share, roughly 140 targets is what's going to be up for grabs here to be spread amongst this offense. That is so many targets that are going to be available for anyone to pick up. And I understand the quarterback situation is a little shaky right now. The week 1 quarterback is probably not on the roster. at this point.
Well,
Right?
that's what we did. We found out, we predicted on the Sonic Truth there's going to be McSorley, but McSorley's not even on the roster yet.
No, it's not McSorley either.
We're projecting they're going to sign McSorley because he knows the offense and he's played with them before. But as of right now, we're waiting to see when Colt McCoy's going to be ready. It's wild.
Then we get to play.
It could be Wentz. I don't know.
And say Wentz is still available.
Yeah, it could be Wentz.
However, if they sign Tracy McSorley, at least we get to play the Tracy McSorley song again.
I like Trace McSorley because he has a little bit of mobility.
He does
just a little more. I just need a little bit of mobility. It would be nice if they could somehow get Taysom Hill. That'd be fun.
Oh man, I'm done with Taysom Hill experiment.
Just as a quarterback, it's fun when he's running around and whatever. It's just it makes it interesting. At least that offense, something to shake up that offense would be good. But if I were an NFL general manager, I would have two of these guys. I would have Campbell and Rondale Moore. I would have two of these guys. And again, Wandale, similar. I'd have at least two wide receivers that I could deploy as running backs as needed. That is something I would absolutely have. And I would probably only have two running backs on the roster with at least two receivers that could also play running back on demand. Like I would be the NFL GM that is like, has multiple runs with Cordarrelle Patterson. Like Cordarrelle would have played for us in 94 to 95 or 2004 to 2005, whatever the run in 2015, whatever it is. Like that guy, Devin Hester, I love those guys. I think that they have a role. Now again, Devin Hester is more of a special teams ace, understood, but that spectrum of Devin Hester through the Parris Campbells and the Rondale Moores, they're weapons and they belong in offenses. You certainly want a proper alpha. You want like a Michael Pittman out there. Yes. You want a guy that can just get open at will, like Devontae Smith. Yes. Yes, of course you want those guys. Jahan Dotson is nice to have. And then I'm going to have either a Curtis Samuel, Parris Campbell, a Rondale Moore. In real football too, those guys are really valuable.
Next player I want to talk about, who was potentially dead last year, off people's radar. He's back now. Irv Smith. In redraft right now, it's catching up. ADP's catching up. Best ball, he's starting to go in that, Isaiah Likely range.
That's it?
Yeah,
just the likely range.
He hasn't climbed yet. He's starting to climb, but he's still been pretty cheap, even with the free agency news. I think people are just afraid of his injuries and what he's done and what he hasn't done in the past. But I like his ADP. I like the landing spot. You couldn't have. There's very few spots. I can't think of a better spot for him to land.
No.
It'd
be like a running back. It's like a running back going to Cincinnati. It's like, this is a dream scenario. Theo Greminger talking about it on Twitter today. Like, that's the spot. That's the smash spot, is to go to Cincinnati. Absolutely. Yes, please.
Yeah, I'm loving the spot. And I know they're not going to trade T. Higgins now, but if they did, imagine now the opportunity he's going to have there. And I don't think it's going to happen anymore. I know that was kind of the news earlier. We're not expecting it to happen. I think it would have happened by now unless they're offered this massive package. But I like Irv Smith in this offense. I think it's going to be, just a great fit for them and the Bengals. Be able to utilize him in the red zone as well. I think this might be the year that he officially actually breaks out.
Yeah, I don't think it's necessarily about the contract with him either. I just think that there wasn't a lot of money to be spent this year. Yep. They spent a bunch of their free agent money last year on guard because they needed to do that. The next tight end there on the roster is Devin Asiasi. Tanner Hudson. It's a bunch of retreads that have gone nowhere. And Irv Smith is the locked-in starter. I mean, he's gained some weight. He used to be a pure move tight end. He's now getting up in the upper 240s. He knows he needed to add weight. He's got that Eric Ebron athletic profile. He's got those Eric Ebron hands. I get it. There's certainly, he leaves you wanting anyone that watches him. Yes. But Hayden Hurst was serviceable last year for stretches. And Irv Smith's faster, better than Hayden Hurst. I like it. He's also he's a dented can because like the guy had multiple serious injuries that he's coming back from, cost him, half of the season last year. He's in his whole career, he's never played more than 14 games. These are serious injuries. High ankle sprain that cost him 8 games. Serious high ankle sprain. Meniscus tear cost him a season in 2021. So he's been through it in his lower body. But when healthy, and he's not old. He's 24 years old. 24 years old. That's the year that tight ends break out. Most tight ends don't have the opportunities he's had to break out. And especially in DFS, he's been a killer. It's been so bad. Over the years, people lost a lot of money playing him in DFS.
Yeah, me included.
But I'm fine being, and I love being right about players. One of my rules is like, you really want to come in at like 239 pounds at tight end. You really want to try to play that game with me, right? You're trying to pull an Evan Ingram rookie year out of your hat. Yeah, that's once a decade. You're going to get that kind of season from a move tight end. And every year they talk me to these move tight ends. This year, this draft class, there's like 3. Everyone's into these 240-pound tight ends again. And I'm like, okay, keep talking. Cool. Right? And I'm like trying to find the athletic guys that are 255, and their hit rate is so much higher. So much higher. And so I've been out on Irv Smith this whole career. Haven't given him any thought while everyone was getting run over by him in DFS in particular. And now I'm looking up going, this is interesting. I might be in. It's like Kareem Hunt. He's my tight end Kareem Hunt, although he's never been good. At least Kareem Hunt was good for a period of time. So it's not like a tight end Kareem Hunt. I got to find another example. He's a tight end version of some kind of player that has never been good, that I called correctly the entire way, but finally at some point you think, okay, this guy's a value. I'm gonna be in on him.
I have him projected right now, 12% target share, 72 targets, 51 receptions, about 450 yards, and just under 5 scores. You think that's about right?
That's where he belongs, but the upside is like 600 plus yards.
Correct. Yeah. This is again mean projections, right? If I do upside projections, absolutely, we could bump it up to like 10 yards per reception, if not more. And give him a little like 12.5%, 13% target share, and I think that would get him near there. But I think this is like not necessarily the floor, right? Because we've seen his floor pretty much his whole career. But those numbers would be a career year for Irv Smith. He has not eclipsed more than 47 targets in his entire career, right? But this, in my opinion, is probably the year it happens. This will be a career year for Irv Smith inside this Bengals offense.
They are going to draft a tight end.
Yeah, guaranteed.
Guaranteed. They're drafting a tight end in the first 2 rounds, probably. Yep. So we'll see who that is. If it's a Kincaid coming off injury, we'll see who it is. We'll see who it is. I'm interested to see who they draft. Musgrave would really be tough for Irv Smith. Musgrave has size. Musgrave is an athlete. Musgrave's not coming off injury. So that would be bad news for Irv Smith. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. Things could nuke him, but you could do a lot worse at that ADP among the tight end position, especially in tight end premium like the FFPC. I had a question for you about a player we haven't talked. I figured this guy would be on the list because he's not dead yet. I think he's got 1 season left in him.
What was that?
Odell Beckham.
Yeah, that's a good one. I definitely think he has 1 good season left in him still. I don't think we'll ever see the Odell Beckham that everyone remembers the Giants years, where he, the crazy catch is what made his career, right? Those days are long gone. Can he be a number 2 in an offense?
Yeah, I mean,
absolutely.
That was literally 9 years ago.
I can't believe it's been 9 years. That's crazy.
That was 9 years ago. What I was thinking
not feel like
was
9 years.
When he tore the ACL in the Super Bowl, that was a gut punch.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Whatever you want to think about him on the field, off the field, whatever your opinion is, that hurt me when I saw that and I was like, because I know, because we have like the Injury Finder app. That's the new Injury Finder predictions for this year coming out very soon. We have fragility ratings coming. It's all coming. It's very exciting. But knowing what I know about these injury recovery timetables, especially guys that are past the age apex when they get injured, I was like, wait a second. This guy's in his late 20s, tears his ACL in February. This is 2 lost seasons we're looking at. This is horrible.
Yeah,
Well, I almost had a tear. Like I was like, I could see his face because he knew it. And then you could see he was starting to come to the realization of what it meant for his career, all in real time on the field in like a Super Bowl setting. It was so heartbreaking. And so now I can't be objective. Like, I really want him to come back. I really want him to do well.
Did you hear the cap of money he's asking for? It'll never happen. He's
how much?
He wants 1 year, $15 million
for receiver with his resume.
Man, I don't think so. Not this year.
I don't think it's going to happen. But
No.
I get that as a starting point. He's like 1 year starting point for negotiation. Given his brand equity, I totally get it. I just think that you're right that he's probably going to end up like 11.5 or something.
Yeah, it's going to come down for sure.
But look at how much money teams have to spend. They don't have the money. That's the problem. He's probably going to end up settling for even less to go where he wants.
Yeah, I mean, you got to think his point in his career where now he's more interested in a ring than he is potentially 15 million. Like if he can get 11 and go to a team that's has a chance at doing it, I mean, I personally would. You know, maybe he is after the money. Some players only want the money, but I could see him wanting to go for that ring and finish it off.
I mean, if you're Buffalo, aren't you just trying to load up on talent? Aren't you sick and tired of being sick and tired of not having anyone that can squeeze the football or make plays opposite Stephon Diggs?
Oh, it's always Stephon Diggs, man. I love Stephon Diggs.
How are they? It's just irresponsible for them to keep eating these L's in the playoffs.
They have
keep
to
being the Super Bowl favorite. Keep face planting in the playoffs and not go all fucking in to make sure that Josh Allen is not hung out to dry every single time that Stephon Diggs is covered.
I agree. They have to get him some help. Bye, stream.
Hey, you like that video? Be sure to subscribe and activate those alerts so you get notified as soon as new videos drop. And be sure to check out playerprofiler.com. We have all the tools for you to dominate every type of fantasy league. We have a draft kit, Dynasty Deluxe, data analysis, DFS Dominator, and don't forget the player rankings to rule them all.